back. We should Megiddo, sorry. We should definitely do that. Like, we should definitely rewatch that because it's so psychotic, dude. It is fucking insane. Actually, it's not a battle with Satan. Only it's a battle with Gog, the leader of the Magog, which is just Russia. Armadoodoo, Megadoodoo, all this other shit. Anyway, it's just colonialism. The difference is that, though, that like colonialism often, in the way that we understand it, like old school colonialism, in the way that we understand it, is in our current times is relegated to like the IMF and financial instruments, and it's like one layer removed, like a piece of bacon that you're purchasing at the store. Okay, like you don't know the process in which, like, you don't see the murder of the pig. Old school colonialism, you literally went and you murdered the pig and then made the bacon. As in, you literally went down there and fucked shit up personally, raped and pillaged. Except for, obviously, like, and I'm removing the third world countries or developing nations, like, enacting brutality upon one another, and only talking about developed nations like Israel doing this, and I guess Saudi Arabia as well, as we routinely talk about, in Turkey from time to time. But, like, we are watching old school colonialism happen with the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Israeli treatment of Palestinians in general. It's like caught in fucking 4K, and it doesn't even matter. Oh, progressive Jews in America. A lot of progressive Jews in America are either unaware of all this or have only heard about the situation in Israel from their parents. So their opinion on this is either their opinion on the occupation is either like clouded by ultranationalist sentiment from their conservative parents, or you know, brainwashed through propaganda, or they're just like oblivious and they don't know. So there is a big blind spot for some progressive American Jews who are like, well, anti-Semitism is a real thing. I see that you're criticizing people here, and I don't really appreciate it. It seems like you're being anti-Semitic, when no, I also very carefully use my words when I'm talking about this sort of stuff. Okay? So, let's watch this. This is incredibly rare. Like, hearing an actual fucking straight up Palestinian person give any kind of airtime on an American network and openly describing the occupation to an American audience is incredibly rare. This is my second time being thrown out of my home with Israeli settlers. My father's third time. Let's watch. So this is, he's a poet and a writer. He's like, I think 23 or 22 years old. And he's the brother of the other lady that we saw recently. And I'll show you the video once again of the Jewish guy from Brooklyn that went viral over the past week.
The third time for my father, who's 76 years old. My grandmother died a few months ago, and this would have been her fifth time getting her home stolen by Israeli settlers. And it breaks me to say this, but I am glad she is dead, not to have to deal with the anxiety and sleeplessness and indignity and violence of the Israeli settlers in Israel. And in truth, this is the reality for thousands and thousands of Palestinians. This is just one part of a larger effort to take over Palestine and erase all Palestinian presence from our native city. Life is unbearable right now for us.
As you're very well aware, the issue of Palestinian dispossession of lands has been going on for years. I'm curious to get your thoughts, though. What are you hoping a Biden administration will do differently than a Trump administration or this outgoing Trump administration? Do you think there will be a difference?
No, I'm not hoping for much, and let me tell you why. In 2009, when the Israelis took over our home the first time, they did so under the Obama administration with Joe Biden as a VP. And then the second reason why I don't have much hope and very skeptical of a Biden administration is because, not because the Palestinian people have a problem with Biden per se, but because Biden and Obama and Trump are just an acceleration of an outstanding, unconditional, and long-standing American support for Israel that has never been questioned.
Let me ask you about the international community's role in all this, because another headline today was the U.S. Secretary of State saying that BDS, the movement of boycott, divestment, and sanctions to try and end the occupation in the West Bank, is anti-Semitic. What do you think?
I love that, dude. I love that, by the way. Number one advocates for freedom of speech are conservatives in this country. And conservatives have slowly but surely pushed some of the most insane anti-free speech legislation, especially in southern states. That's why if I have any like teachers or whatever in my chat from a southern state, they will tell you you have to literally sign a fucking even if you're a fucking teacher in middle school, they make you sign a fucking statement that you will never support boycott, divest, and sanctions on the state of Israel in fucking Texas. What the fuck? I'm a middle school teacher in Texas. Why the fuck do I have to sign this? And how in the ever-loving fuck is that allowed as far as like as far as being like a piece of legislation from the same dudes that will literally lose their minds if you actually engage in hate speech, which BDS is not, okay? It's not hateful. It is literally the exact same movement tailored from the original boycott, divestments, and sanctions movement against apartheid South Africa. So it is fucking insane. And surprisingly, and it is bipartisan support, of course. It has bipartisan support across the board, usually, with notable exceptions. Notable exceptions being, and this will shock you, Dianne Feinstein actually is like is a straightforward anti-BDS, is a straightforward, not an advocate for BDS, but definitely is against any sort of like anti-BDS legislation. So, it's great. And I never understood why Chomsky and fuck, what's the other dude's name? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. Oh my god, my brain is so broken. They're both against BDS. No, not the K-pop group. No. Norman Finkelstein is also against BDS. They think that Finkelstein and Chomsky both believe that like BDS takes it too far. And there's nuances to it, but they're still very much in opposition to any sort of like restrictive behavior against like taking actions like this. Okay, that's what it is. Finkelstein is more so against BDS than Chomsky is. And I think for Finkelstein, who is incredible, by the way, who's literally dedicated his entire life to showing the world a side of the Israeli occupation that is not shown, to speak truth to power in that regard, and has been fucking punished for it severely, for him to say that they are against BDS is huge. It's very important. I think you guys are confusing Chomsky and Finkelstein, to be fair. I don't know if Chomsky's against BDS, but I know Finkelstein has had problems with BDS in the past. Finkelstein's criticisms of BDS come from Finkelstein's criticisms of boycott, divest, and sanctions on Israel come from the fact that he believes that the goal ultimately is insane and will never happen. And I think he's even said that like he even might have said that it could be violent ultimately. Like if the goal is a full eradication of Israel and restoration to Palestine, like that will not. You literally said Chomsky's anti-BDS. I was reading a comment from the chat. I don't know if he is anti-BDS. I think he's critical of BDS. I know that despite Chomsky's critical of BDS, Finkelstein is anti-BDS. Anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about. Finkelstein is literally called anti-Semitic all the time when he lost most of his family in the Holocaust. Yes. Okay.
I think the international community needs.
IDF entered the Temple Mount because stones were thrown on Jews praying in the Western Wall from it. It's important to mention. Yeah, dude, you're right. I think they should murder everyone. You're right, dude. They should literally just wipe it out, right? Like, that's not important to mention, you fucking little shit. I hate these motherfuckers that try to like both sides it. Oh, really? Oh, so then they should get fucking skunked out with the fucking high pressure water cannons that literally have this disgusting water in it. Specifically, so you smell bad for like a fucking week, and your entire neighborhood smells like shit. The skunk water. because the Israeli forces said that someone threw a fucking rock, dude. I guess you know, you start bombing and using bullets then, which is unironically the justification. It is fucking insane. It's a skunk water. Yeah, both sides, dude. Yeah, nuke them. Both sides.
Needs to do in order to bring about a change for the Palestinian people affected by
the same people that say fucking, the same people that are trying to both sides this, if they are progressive, will literally turn around and be like, what Donald Trump wants to do at the border wall is fucking insane. That he said that you should murder refugees because they are throwing rocks. That is an insane take. So why don't you justify it in a similar capacity when it's Israel Palestine? What's up with that? Like I don't understand. Is it okay to start fucking murdering black people because they threw shit at cops, at like cops with high powered rifles and Kevlar vests and shit? Really? Well, one black person threw a rock, so literally all black people need to be wiped off from the face of the planet now with rockets and fucking pushed away. Great take, dude. Thanks.
These policies.
I think international pressure is imperative and important, and I think BDS has a lot of potential. What I think is even more important to point out right now is I want to speak to the American people. I want to speak to American taxpayer. I want to ask them, do you really want to be paying $3.8 billion a year to fund my home demolition and my land grabbing, especially in a pandemic when the American working class family is struggling?
Oh, so Shen, when Hamas bombs Jerusalem, it's okay and Israel doesn't have the right to do anything against it, right? Brother, if you want to stop people from fucking rocketing your homes and shit, one quick and immediate way to solve that problem, which is a fucking problem, certainly, is to literally stop occupying a territory and operating the largest open world prison on the fucking planet. I don't know. That's a pretty good way to fucking avoid that, I think. That's one way to start that conversation, is to not fucking literally engage in an act of colonizing. Okay, so that's one. Number two, did I say open world prison? I meant open air prison. Okay. Number two, another thing you can fucking do is offer opportunities, and regardless of what you do, though, another thing that you always shouldn't do is to assume like, oh, okay, so there's a terror cell here, or there's a militant group here, okay? They threw rockets. Well, time to fucking wipe out every Palestinian. That is psychotic. That is racist. That is ethnic cleansing, okay? Operating like that, with that mentality is the absolute exact same way to operate against black people, and white supremacists did that for a very long time and still do, by the way. So inherently, you are no different than a fucking alt-right Nazi shithead when you turn around and you make that justification for bombing the fuck out of Gaza, or even worse, I mean, that's pretty fucking bad. But then also the territorial expansion of the Western Bank. Like I can't even. I don't know where to begin to take apart that take. Anyway. Everyone's worried about stopping terrorism. Well, there's a really easy way. Stop participating in it. Yeah, that is an easy way. Okay. This is a fucking insane take, too. Where do we send the Israelis, though? Many of them were born and grew up in the settlements. I don't give a fuck, dude. Are you fucking out of your mind, dude? That is such an insane fucking approach to this problem. What about the Palestinians that you fucking that you kicked out of their homes, dude? What an insane fucking problem to like looking at the situation, and you're literally like talking about a post-segregation society, right? Like a post-Jim Crow society, and you are pretty much asking, well, what are we going to do about the white people that are offended that black people need to go to the restaurants with them? Like, that's your take here? That's the genuine issue that you want to focus on? That's crazy. That's absolutely fucking crazy. Would it be off to say the Zionists are ethno-fascist? No, they are. It is fascist. It is a ethno-state project that is fucking fascist. Straight up. I've never backed away from saying that. I think what Israel is doing is fascist. Absolutely. Settler terrorism is fascist. It's textbook fascism. I live in Israel. My brother's in the IDF. My teacher's a Zionist. My mom and dad also Zionists. What should I do? For fuck's sake, I'm scared. Help me, please. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I mean, just hold on to your convictions. I'm sure there's plenty of other people that you can talk to as well. You cannot say that the solution for this is for the Israelis to leave. Then when someone asks you where, you say it's a ridiculous question. It is a ridiculous question. You want to know why it's a fucking ridiculous question? Move back to Israel, okay? How about that? There you go. There's your fucking answer. It's a ridiculous question because it's like if I came into your fucking home and literally took your living room at gunpoint, and then all of a sudden I have a family there, and you're like, can you please leave? Like, can you please leave? And I'm like, where am I gonna go, dude? Where's my family gonna go? You're really going to displace me right now while I'm in the process of displacing you from your home? That is a psychotic fucking take. I'm sorry. If that's your fucking point of view in this conversation, is where do the settlers who are engaging in an act of settler terrorism go, then your priorities are fucking twisted, dude. They are twisted. Oh my God, dude. I don't know where to fucking go with a take like this, okay? Squatters' rights are appropriate if it's not being utilized, okay? If you are homeless and you have no home and you're fucking poor and you find a place there's shelter, there's a roof over your head, and you want to protect your family, that's one thing, okay? But like, you can't squatters' rights an occupied building where a fucking family has lived for like 7 generations because, you know, some fucking book told you that that's supposed to be your land. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, let me show you the same videos that we did already. The fucking, does anyone have the Brooklyn dude? That we'll start out with that one because it ties back to Muhammad here, who's talking about it. Oh, here it is. Here is the video right here. So this person, the lady here in the hijab is that guy Muhammad's sister. Okay. Is there more? Okay.
No one are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is gonna steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, يا عمي. Jacob, you know this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this.
But
it's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
You are stealing my house.
Motherfucker, you literally flew from Brooklyn to occupied to Palestinian territory and took over a house, dude. A part of a house. Like, I didn't do this is such a fucking insane take. Who did it, dude? Who did it then? You did. Yeah, he is. He's from Brooklyn, dude. And originally, Originally, yeah, but where's that guy gonna stay, bro? I don't know. Go to fuck back to Brooklyn, you piece of shit. How about that? Is that a good? Hey guys, is that a good argument? I know some of you are like, how? Where will that guy go? I know you're like genuinely worried that motherfucker from Brooklyn is over here like, I'm occupying over here. What do you want me to do? Eh? Come on. I need this. This is my house now. Like, yeah, we gotta fucking, I don't know. Where do we put that guy, dude? Who knows? Wait, they're just allowed to walk into someone's house and say it's theirs now and get the family out? Yes. Muhammad was talking about his personal experience, okay? They will literally just walk into your house and sit in your fucking living room and be like, this is my house now. Straight up. And if you have anything to say about it, if you're like, no, if you ever take violent action and try to defend your own home, your family's home, the Israeli Defense Force will come in and fucking arrest you and murder you. That's it. Okay, they'll torture you, they'll arrest you, they'll murder the fuck out of you. They'll take you to a Jewish court where the deck is completely stacked against you, especially considering that Israel used to turn a blind eye to the settler expansion over the course of the past 20 years, though, especially with Netanyahu increasing his militancy and his reactionary rhetoric against the Palestinians and justifying all of this untold cruelty that the Israeli government subjects them to. They went from, oh, it's happening, but like, I don't know, I guess it's happening, fuck, to literally like sending bulldozers and protecting those bulldozers with IDF forces and straight up fucking participating in the territorial expansion. I'm a Palestinian whose family has been displaced before. I study international relations. I can tell you I'm extremely pessimistic in general about our situation, but thank you for talking about this and spreading awareness. So I'm correct. USA is okay with this because IDF buys the fuck out of US weaponry. I mean, they are our most important strategic ally in the region, okay? It's like them and also Saudi Arabia. So, yeah. Every American Jew can sign up and get one of these free houses. I've considered signing up in order to let the Palestinian family stay. The level of entitlement / racism that you have to walk into someone's home and steal it is insane. Yes. Israeli military court for Palestinians, 90% plus guilty rate. Is there no pushback from the Jewish people on what their government is doing? I mean, there are Israeli people who are against it, but ultimately Netanyahu's opposition, or at least in the previous election, not this last one, but even in the previous election, the more liberal fucking opposition to Netanyahu was literally running on the platform where he openly showed his war crimes as a way to promote himself. So there isn't like much serious opposition from any of the popular parties that are anti-Israeli human rights abuses. Like, they are very much pro human rights abuses. So they're definitely not interested in changing anything. It was Benny Gantz, right? That was the other dude. I went on a birthright trip back in 2013 when I was only 19. They pump you full of propaganda the entire time to the point where they had Americans enlisting in the IDF. Yeah. So yeah, it is one of the worst ongoing human rights abuses that the entire Western world looks away at. Or rather, every now and then, the United Nations will like wag their fucking finger at Israel, and then literally every American conservative Jewish mouthpiece will turn around and be like, I can't believe the fucking anti-Semitism of the United Nations. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Like, they literally, like, Ben Shabibo is a perfect example of who just loses his fucking mind anytime. Like, literally anytime Israel is criticized, like, well, what about China? It's like, okay, what about China, motherfucker? Sure, criticize China too. U.S. tried to sanction the court investigating Israeli crimes. It's just...
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
Like, that guy says it. Like, he straight up says it. Jacob is like, yeah, if I don't fucking steal it, someone else will. Oh, here, I wanted to show you this. Rockets fired at Jerusalem. Hundreds are hurt in clashes at Al Aqsa Mosque. Here is how the New York Times edited their article. The police entered the compound and fired rubber-tipped bullets. Anger was already building in response to the looming expulsion of several Palestinian families from their homes in the city. I guess they took that part out. But also, I wanted to show you this. Evictions in Jerusalem become focus of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Okay? The efforts to evict 6 Arab families from a contested neighborhood has drawn attention from the Israeli effort to remove Palestinians from parts of East Jerusalem and led the protests. I don't really care for like the additional spice that they added here, but this kind of passive language is something that you see when mainstream media routinely covers police executions, right? Like they will always say clashes broke out, or as though there's like both sides of this fucking conflict or argument, okay? There is no both sides. They are forcibly removing dudes from their fucking houses, okay? They're forcibly removing people from their houses in an effort to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from an area. Like, there is no, like, evictions. These aren't, like, fucking landlords, even though that in and of itself is still very gross and very inhumane. But no, it's people who are literally going in and taking other people's homes, okay? And the only claim that they have to this territory or this region is a religious one. And that's it. It's super sad. AOC finally voices support for Palestine. She says, "We stand in solidarity with the Palestinian residents of Sheikh Jarrah in East Jerusalem. Israeli forces are forcing families from their homes during Ramadan and inflicting violence. It is inhumane, and the U.S. must stop. We must show leadership in safeguarding the human rights of Palestinians." And this is the same from wherever you are. It's the same as like the American government supporting the Colombian government in its endeavors of violently suppressing protests in Colombia over like policies that will disproportionately harm the working poor. And it's the same with our approach to Israel as well. And I live here. This 6 families' houses were bought by Jews by Lowe. And I live here. So, oh shit, my bad, dude. My bad. You need to read about what happened in 1947, 1948 in Israel and talk to number 1, took anything from them. It was a war started by the Arabs and didn't want to take the UN decision. No, you're right, brother. That's why it's totally fine to fucking ethnically cleanse people. Because listen, the justification, no matter what you have, ultimately is I'm allowed to do colonizing, like, and I'm allowed to fucking ethnically cleanse people because reasons. Like, the argument always stops and ends at no, you don't understand. Ethnic cleansing is reasonable to do here. Okay? So just remember that energy. If you want to channel your energy to defend the actions of Israel here, then channel it in the appropriate and honest way and say, I think we should ethnically cleanse Palestinians, because that's ultimately what you are finding reasons for. Okay? I just want you to understand, like, no matter what kind of fucking justification you add to the front end of it to say, like, well, Arabs started it or whatever the fuck, as though the original Israeli territorial expansion or the original state of Israel's nation building project isn't literally built upon the backs of Arabs that originally lived there. You know, let's not even talk about that. But, you know, ultimately, like, it's the Arabs that started it. So now we have to wipe them all out. That's what you're saying. Got it. Look at what Israel's doing with the Polish immigrants. They're bringing Polish Jews into Israel to occupy more Palestinian land. A horrible situation. That's the other part about this, is that like fascists collaborate with one another. There is always international collaboration amongst fascists, right? So what is happening is, for example, you have people like Viktor Orban, or you have people like fucking Bolsonaro, who, or Orban specifically, who is like anti-Semitic. Wait, is it Orban? No, am I? Or Modi? Wait, was it Orban? The one that was? Wait, who's the? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is Viktor Orban. I don't want to get the name wrong. You have people like Viktor Orban, who himself is like literally anti-Semitic, hugging and kissing people like fucking Netanyahu because they have a unified goal. It's the same shit that I described to you. It's the same thing that I described to you with white evangelical Protestant Christians, right? Where like they don't give a fuck about the Jews ultimately, but they want somewhere where they can expel them. They want the Jews to leave and go somewhere else. Okay, they're just like, yeah, great. Have your fucking ethno state somewhere far away from me. That'll be a fucking barrier state to deal with all the Muslims, and I don't want to deal with the Muslims anyway. So, you know, get the fuck away from me and go to that ethno state in the middle of the fucking desert. And if you're gonna kill Arabs while you're doing that, fuck yeah, totally on board. These motherfuckers aren't like pro-Jew in any way. They're literally anti-Semitic, but they align with the goals of Bibi Netanyahu. I wonder why. Anyway, they don't just get kicked out of their homes or forced to demolish or pay for the demolition of their own homes so that land can be taken over. I'm from Hungary and anti-Orban. Orban is not openly anti-Semitic. Okay. Anti-Semitic authors will soon be compulsory reading in Hungarian schools, and history books will be rewritten in order to promote pride in the nation. Viktor Orban's controversial new school curriculum is drawing outrage. Along with the controversial new bill that greatly increased the power of Hungary's far-right Prime Minister Viktor Orban, which has been described by critics as a power grab, the country's education system is also facing reforms reflecting the government's nationalist propaganda. The new national core curriculum seems oddly similar to the 1776 project pushed by Donald Trump, right? That's wild. But it's not even just that. Viktor Orban's, what was it, like his communication director, which also fucking worked alongside Netanyahu, was responsible for like anti-Semitic propaganda. Viktor Orban is not openly anti-Semitic, yet routinely fucking talks about George Soros. I wonder why. I wonder why that happens. It's just probably a coincidence, right? You know, just a crazy coincidence. Gal's second proposal should be recounted was to sanitize the record of Hungarian participation in the ghettoization and deportation of the country's Jews and place full blame for the destruction of Hungary's Jewry on Germany, even though the resulting international outcry led to Gal's dismissal. Orban's government went ahead anyhow and built a memorial to the victims of German occupation with the same message. Yeah. Like removing their hands of any of the problems that they personally may have caused against Jewish people. I mean, Netanyahu's son is a fucking total freak too, but that's not. I'm not even gonna get to that. That's he routinely posts like anti-Semitic 4chan posts all the fucking time. I mean, Netanyahu is fucking anti-Semitic. If you consider Holocaust revisionism to be one of the most anti-Semitic things you can do, then Bibi Netanyahu has personally engaged in Holocaust revisionism. So what's up with that? Like, Netanyahu is literally a Holocaust revisionist. Straight up. Straight the fuck up. Yeah. Have you read the 1776 Project, by the way? It's hilariously unscholarly, like has like no citations. There was like a 17-page Breitbart piece. Yeah. Wait, why do people even take the Zionist reason or occupation? Our ancestors lived here 1,000 years ago. By that logic, Muslims ruled over Spain 700 years ago. That should be handed over to the Arabs as well. No, I mean, then don't even fucking bring up the Moors and shit, dude. Are you kidding me? That is, oh my god, that's a never-ending stain on European history. That literally motivates a big chunk of the reason. That motivates a big chunk of the reason for why so many fucking Europeans still like despise Muslims in general, dude. Oh my god, no. The argument isn't we lived there 1,000 years ago. It's our culture and ethnic history began in that place, and we've had a physical and cultural connection continuously since then. But also, no part of that justifies removing people from their homes and obviously bombing mosques. That shit is evil. Yeah. Yeah. Military bro from high school keeps posting the 1776 book. Well, I'm glad that he's reading at least. Yeah. All these you are saying are true. I'm also Jewish. And the guy you're talking about is also true. Communications director for the Holocaust revisionism is also true, but it's not really a central project / policy. They barely talk about it, like literally never. Also, thank you for reading my message. Anyway, yeah. Saying Israel was just built on Arab settlements only tells half the story. Jews occupied this region continuously for millennia, and there was increased re-immigration after facing genocides in Europe and being denied asylum everywhere else. That doesn't mean it's not an apartheid state that commits genocides themselves now. It is an apartheid state that commits genocide now. That's what I focus on. That's what I care about. As far as the history of Jewish people living there, I don't have a fucking problem with Jewish people living anywhere. It's great. Live wherever the fuck you want to. There's a difference between we want to create a migration program so that Jews and Palestinians and Israelis or everyone there can live happily in a one nation state, which is what I believe should happen there. A singular nation state, not a two-state solution. Then that's great. I'm fucking totally on board. Fine and dandy. Except that's not what's happening. And even the two-state solution is no longer seen as viable. And the one-nation-state solution or the one-nation solution is not necessarily a nation of Palestine or anything like that, or even a nation where the Knesset or the government will be equally working in the interest of both Palestinians and Jews and Arabs across the board, everyone that lives there, but instead one that focuses primarily on wiping out, starving, and shutting off access for all of the Palestinians in that region until they just like fucking wipe out everything and turn it into one big parking lot. But it'll be a gay parking lot. And also on top of that, it'll be sick to go visit in the summers. And, you know, there's so much tech there. So obviously it's all fine from the point of view of Westerners who literally don't even fucking look to the brutality of this occupation, and instead, it's just an afterthought. Or when it's not an afterthought, they just think about it as like they think about it as like just completely justified. Gay vegan parking lot. So, the U.S. reaction with Israel is really similar to how we helped Franco during his regime in Spain just because he was anti-communist. Yeah. People should know that those who shield for ethnic cleansing with these Jews have been living there too are liberals, by the way, not even conservatives. Yeah, a lot of secular progressive Americans just have a fucking blind spot to this. And I personally understand it. I also am from a country that occupies a territory where they send a group of people of a specific ethnic background. They subject them to untold amounts of cruelty as well. So I do get it. I do understand why you could have a blind spot to some shit like that, where you don't want to think about it or you don't consider it at all. Still ridiculous. Historic claim to land by an ethnic group can never justify ethnic cleansing. Change my mind. I don't think that's a ridiculous fucking take there. There are several TikTok accounts that post attractive IDF members to romanticize them. Yes, the IDF propaganda is very, very strong. Okay, there's a no matter what flavor of progressive or conservative or reactionary you are, you will find one way to and we do it in the American military too. But you will find a piece of advertisement that works in your favor that suits your fucking interests. So, whether you're a vegan and you love the vegan food options, whether you're LGBT and you love that it's like a openly LGBT military force, like there's something for everybody. What? Not say the Kurds and not just say some people? Of course I mean the Kurds. What the fuck do you mean, dumbass? I've talked about it a million times. Why not say the Kurds, he says. The fuck are you? What do you think I'm talking about? Do you think the distraction that Trump was in the current circle jerking of American hate has been a boon for China these past 5 years? I mean, it certainly helps China in whatever their interests are in furthering their like global agenda. Anyway, fuck. Okay. So we talked about all this. Okay, well, let's get to the closed indefinitely. The story about the story. I'll watch one more video on this. I just don't know if there's like blood. You know what I mean? I'm a little worried about potential bloodshed in the Al Jazeera and the DW coverage of this. Like it's just, we talked about it already, but like sorry, hold on. You've angered witch talk, lol. Wait, what? Why? I love witch talk. This is like inside the Masjid Al Aqsa, where people are fucking getting gas bombed and tear gassed and getting hit with pepper bullets. In retaliation, I think Hamas launched rockets, which were of course immediately fucking domed by the Iron Dome system, and the IDF. The IDF then turned around and and bombed Gaza, which ended up killing, I think, 20. Did it? I think like 20 people, women and children. The mosque is now on fire, if I'm not mistaken. This is happening during Ramadan, the holiest month for Muslims. It's also happening during one of the holiest nights and days of Ramadan. And here are some Israeli settlers dancing and celebrating as the courtyard of Al-Aqsa is on fire this evening. I mean, this reminds me of like the dudes who fucking literally will bring a fucking and yeah, this is the holiest. Al-Aqsa is the third holiest site for Muslims on the planet. It really, the mosque is not on fire during the protest outside. It makeshift Molotov hit a tree nearby. That's what's on fire. They brought, yeah, I remember the images of like Israelis that fucking perched up on hilltops to watch snipers and fucking tanks and rocket fire with binoculars all the way back in like 2014, where they were celebrating that shit with like actual popcorn. Great. Like, how the fuck do you think this is going to end up? Like, what do you think happens here? If you are being removed from your home, when you are forced to live in under this brutal thumb of an occupation, okay? Like, imagine, you know what it's like? It's like the fucking, the Tiki Torch Nazis at Charlottesville. Imagine if, like, you literally, as a person of color, or you literally had to live under their occupation, okay? Like, all the time. All the time. They're just brutalizing you. They're removing you from your fucking houses. They're bulldozing your shit. And then they just, like, now live in your home. And then you go to a place of solace and comfort and want to have solidarity with other people that are going through similar things, you know, in the holy month that you believe in. You don't need to fucking believe in Islam, or you don't need to believe in any of that shit. But ultimately, like, these are people that are looking for solace, right? And in your holy place, in one of the holiest months, the Tiki Torch motherfuckers come in and, like, gas you, okay? They fucking... They beat the shit out of you. They gas you. They have all the power that they have all the power. You have none of the power. What do you do? Like, what can you do as a way to defend yourself? What can you do as a way to retaliate? Like, you can't do anything. But what do you expect when you push people to a fucking when you back people into a corner and you fucking subject them to endless amounts of cruelty? They're gonna fucking fight back. Tiki Torch, those are Nazi white supremacists, not literal Israel Jews. No, I'm using my words very carefully. Okay? The ultra-nationalist Israeli Jews that are justifying this sort of action are no different than the Tiki Torch wielding fucking Nazis. They're not. They are... Like, the Tiki Torch wielding ethno-state Nazis weren't literally a part of the fucking Nazi party in 1938. They want that. Okay? They want that to happen again. The supporters of the IDF and these sorts of horrific actions are doing the exact same thing. It's just fascism. Okay? It's just fucking fascism. And people get really tilted because Jews have historically been marginalized and are still marginalized to this day. There's a lot of anti-Semitism that happens all around the world. So, comparing them to white colonizers is really problematic or whatever. Nah, suck my dick, okay? Like, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. It's not acceptable to be anti-Semitic to all Jews because of the actions of the Israeli government. You can't all of a sudden turn around and be like, I'm gonna fucking hate Jewish people now. You're an idiot, okay? That's not how you fight back against this. But ultimately, what's happening here is completely unacceptable. But if you want to understand, like, why people are fucking angry, well, this is it. What would you do? I mean, seriously, what the fuck would you do? You have no other option. Anyway, so we are I am going to be done with this story for now. I don't want to look to more footage because I'm worried. Like I've been very careful with the footage that I've shown you so far to make sure that there's not like bloodshed or gore. Let me just like quickly browse through the DW video. Maybe we can talk about that. But there's also the ultra-nationalist march that is supposed to be taking place today on Jerusalem Day. I don't know if it's like continuing or not, but yeah, history does repeat itself, especially if you no longer... Oh, they canceled it. Okay, good. Especially if you refuse to learn from the mistakes of the past. So, thank you, Cultural Visual, for the thank you for the subs. Anyway, I'm going to run an ad here. Thanks for having the balls to cover stuff like this in front of so many people. No matter how many times you get stunlocked or get caught up by bad chatters, please know that there are at least 1 million people who have expanded their perspective in the world partly because of you. Oh, damn, undead person actually coming in with a nice take for once instead of just shit posting in the chat. So I am going to, yeah, if you want to see American Jews' criticism of Israel, you can look to Norman Finkelstein. You can look to Noam Chomsky as insightful analysis and historical perspective as to what has happened. But before we move on from this story, I have to mention that it is the top of the hour, so I have to run a 60-second ad break here. And I'm going to do that right now. If you'd like to no longer see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You could do it for $5 or for free by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get 1 free Prime subscription a month. You use a VPN or a ad blocker or things like that as well. But here is the ad break now. Okay. Do you think large third-scale party intervention is necessary to start the process of making it viable one-state solution? I think the most important third-party intervention has to come from pulling out the unconditional support that we currently give to Israel in the form of $3.8 billion, okay? That is one good way. Finkelstein is anti-Semitic, says bread tube reviews. Yeah, dude. You're right. Thank you, bread tube reviews, for your insightful analysis. The last thing I wanted to talk about is another incredible Ben Shabibo. Israel goes through a decades-long legal process to adjudicate whether families who have been illegally squatting in Jewish-owned homes ought to be evicted. Fatah and Hamas precede the riot, actively aid terror attacks and fire rockets. The international community blames Israel. What an incredible way to approach this issue. Once again, from the brilliant mind of Ben Shabibo. Decades-long legal process to adjudicate whether families who have been illegally squatting in Jewish-owned homes ought to be evicted. The things I want to say here are, I mean, this kind of take lends itself to an immediate Holocaust comparison, and that is a big no-no, so I'm not going to do that. But it is literally, it is that, for the record. Like, this is trying to whitewash the Holocaust. Like, it is not dissimilar to that. Okay? Where you're just like, oh, well, you know, it was a removal or an extraction, which, by the way, Ben Shapiro personally has in the past advocated for a final solution, literally a final solution of shipping all the Palestinians from the land that they were born into. It's like saying, no, it was just illegal to be Jewish in Germany at the time. Yeah. Incredible stuff. Yeah, here. Transfer is not a dirty word. He wrote this back in 2003, but I've often went back to this. Here's the bottom line. If you believe that the Jewish state has a right to exist, then you must allow Israel to transfer the Palestinians and the Israeli Arabs from Judea, Samaria, and Gaza and Israel proper. It's an ugly solution, but it's the only solution. Some might even say it's the final solution. And it is far less ugly than the prospect of bloody conflict ad infinitum. Yeah. One quick, precise, surgical removal of all Palestinians, and all of a sudden, you don't have any more bloodshed. That's the beauty of genocide, folks. That's how it works. You do it one time, it's very bloody, and then you never do it again. Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking say, not surprising to see this from the dude who once advocated to do a final solution on that's what I'm going to say. There you go. Ben Winters, Shabibo. Hello, I've been spending my entire night trying to Photoshop Ethan Winters from Resident Evil into Ben Shapiro. Oh, God, don't do that. That's terrible. What is your view on Instagram censoring Palestinian stories? Are they? I'm not surprised if they are. That sort of shit happens all the time. Why do you keep putting words in people's mouths? It's already horrible enough what he's saying. It doesn't need flair. What do you think he's advocating for here? There is no flair there. He's literally advocating for removing Palestinians, taking them out of their homes, and removing Palestinians from their homes, putting them on trains and shipping them off somewhere. And that somewhere is not even mentioned. Okay? That, like, he's just literally saying, like, oh, this is another one where the headlines about Jerusalem clashes between Palestinians and Israeli police at the Al-Aqsa Mosque are absolute misinformation. The clashes are Fatah and Hamas organized riots in which terrorists use Al-Aqsa as a staging point to attack police for the drooling media. Yeah, you know, terror attacks like praying in the holy month of Ramadan.